Have you ever met someone who seems completely in control, calm, composed, almost untouchable? Someone who rarely reacts, never gets too emotional, and carries themselves like nothing can shake them. At first glance, they look strong, even superior. But what if that strength isn't strength at all? What if it's something else? Something hidden. Some people don't express emotions not because they don't feel them, but because somewhere along the way they learned that feeling is dangerous. Maybe they were hurt too many times. Maybe they were ignored when they opened up. Or maybe they were taught that showing emotions is a weakness. So, they adapted. They didn't just control their emotions, they suppressed them. At the beginning, this feels like power. When you don't react, you feel above the chaos. When others are emotional, you feel more stable, more logical, more put together. You start to believe you're different, maybe even better. That you're not like those people who break down, who get attached, who feel too much. But what most people don't realize is that this superiority is often just a protective illusion, because emotions don't disappear. They don't vanish just because you ignore them. They go somewhere, deeper inside you, and over time they build up, quietly, slowly, like pressure in a sealed container. You might look calm on the outside, but inside there's tension, there's weight, there's something unresolved. These people often become extremely rational. They rely on logic for everything. They analyze instead of feeling. They detach instead of connecting, and while this helps them avoid pain, it also distances them from something essential, their own humanity. Because emotions aren't just a weakness, they're also the source of connection, meaning, and joy. When you suppress sadness, you don't just lose sadness, you also lose depth. When you block pain, you also block vulnerability. And when you shut down fear, you often shut down excitement too. The emotional system doesn't work in parts, it works as a whole. You can't selectively numb one feeling without affecting the others. That's why many of these individuals, despite appearing strong, often feel empty. Not in a dramatic way, but in a quiet, hard-to-explain way. A kind of emotional numbness. They go through life, they function, they succeed. But something always feels missing. Like they're watching life instead of actually living it. And here's something even more subtle. They may start to struggle with understanding others. When you disconnect from your own emotions, you slowly lose the ability to truly relate to other people's feelings. You might see others as too sensitive or overreacting, not realizing that they are simply in touch with something you've buried. Over time, suppressed emotions don't stay silent forever. They find other ways to show up, sometimes as anxiety that comes out of nowhere, sometimes as sudden irritation over small things, sometimes as burnout, exhaustion, or even physical symptoms like headaches or constant fatigue. Because what the mind refuses to process, the body begins to carry. And the most dangerous part, you convince yourself that you're fine. You tell yourself, I don't need anyone, nothing affects me, I'm good. But deep down there's a disconnect, not just from others, but from yourself. The truth is, real strength isn't about feeling less. It's about being able to feel without losing yourself. It's about allowing emotions to exist without letting them control you. But you can't manage what you refuse to acknowledge. So what happens when someone who has suppressed emotions for years finally starts to feel again? It's uncomfortable, even overwhelming at first, because all those buried emotions don't come back gently, they come back all at once. And that's why many people avoid this process, because it feels easier to stay numb than to face everything they've been holding in. But healing doesn't start with control, it starts with awareness. It starts with asking yourself simple, honest question. What am I actually feeling right now? Not what you think you should feel, not what looks logical, but what's really there. Then slowly, you allow those emotions to exist, without judgment, without trying to immediately fix or suppress them. You sit with them, you understand them, and over time, you learn how to express them. Maybe through words, maybe through writing, maybe through someone you trust, because the goal isn't to become overly emotional, the goal is to become real again. If you see yourself in this, if you're someone who prides yourself on being unaffected, on always staying in control, then maybe it's time to look a little deeper. Not at how strong you appear, but at what you might be avoiding, because true superiority isn't emotional suppression, it's emotional awareness. It's being able to feel deeply and still stand strong. It's being human without running away from what makes you human.